Oh, all right, all right, all right. Welcome to GUFON, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. It is Wednesday, April 23rd, 25. Everybody okay? Everybody good? Unbelievable. How is everybody? Huh? How are you? Andy, Nathan, Glenn, Teresa? How is everybody? Okay? Okay. You ready for tonight? For the Katy Perry show? Hmm? Hmm. Do 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 do. Hmm. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. You guys want to go back 5 years? Anybody? Anybody know what 5 years ago looked like? Does anybody? Hmm? Do you guys know what 5 years ago looked like here? Want to take a look? 5 years ago, Donnie Creel. Check this out. 5 years ago. I'm embarrassed. Do you know this is. Never mind. I'm just going to play it. I'm not even going to talk much tonight. Good morning, everybody. This is Rich Giordano from GUFON.
Do I look dead or what?
Spaced Out Saturday night, spacedoutradio.com. So last night I was doing my show on GUFON, and I forgot to talk about something, so I'm going to talk about it now while I'm on the bumpiest road in Arizona. There we go. On my way to work, I was thinking, if I don't talk about this now, I won't talk about it until Wednesday, so I'm doing it now. So I wanted to talk about Secure Team 10, and I heard that Tyler is quitting because he is stressed out. Stressed out. Man, it must be tough to be Tyler Glockner with all those teeth. What are you guys talking about? You! How can you be stressed out? I had some family issues We all have family issues. You know what helps? Money. You're making at least 10 to 15 grand a month off of your 2.1 million subscribers. How can you be stressed out? How can you be stressed out? I understand money doesn't buy happiness, but without money, you'd be way worse off. So I just want to know what the stress is. I really got to know. Don't you want to know? There's people in there. $5 years ago. That video has 39,000 views. And that's it. That's my top video on GUFON. Other people who have channels, they're like, what? How could you be doing this 5 years and you don't have more than 39,000 on one video? It's called shadow banning. We got shadow banned in the beginning, actually. And I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for third phase of Moon, we wouldn't have been getting any subscribers during those times, man. I'm telling you. YouTube really has it out for ufologists, for UFO people. And to have only 39,000, that's terrible. That just goes to show you I just don't put on exciting topics. I'm just not exciting, I guess. No, we're just boring. That's all we are. I am looking for this Katy Perry story that is in my videos because it has to be. And I don't know why I can't find it. I think I just realized why. Oh my God. Give me a second. Oh, I forgot to take my insulin again. God dang it. I gotta go get my insulin and take it. I'm gonna do it while we're watching a video. I'm just trying to find out why I can't find my history. I'm freaking out, man. I'm getting pissed off. Here we go. I found what I might have been looking for. All right, here we go. I got it. I got it. This is from Hollywood Access. Oh, we didn't do roll call. Everybody's here. Just do a hi, everybody. No roll call tonight. I don't feel that good, so I'm just going on with the show. I'm just trying to do a show, and that's that. Everybody's here. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, everybody. Nathan's different. Nathan Allen won. Well, all right. There he is. He's little, yellow, different. What commercial? All right. So, check it out.
She did.
That nice.
Come on.
She sang, "What a wonderful world. I see trees." Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh.
I see trees and green, life in a stream. Everybody, hello me. And I think to myself, what a wonderful life. That song?
Because we've been asking her to sing all the time, and she wouldn't. And she wouldn't. And then...
Katy!
Katy Perry has been arrested for faking a trip to space. Although the media reported that she became the first pop star to sing in space, the entire story was a carefully planned hoax. It was claimed she flew with an all-female Blue Origin crew, but an investigation revealed she never even left Earth. In an abandoned studio in Nevada, a replica of the space capsule was built. Pre-recorded visuals of Earth were played through the windows, and the whole scene was filmed using wires, green screens, and cinematic effects. The goal...
I'm glad you look right behind you. It's okay, you it up there. Flynn, I got you. I got you, Flynn. Oh, the moon. You guys, I don't have to tell you, look at the moon.
5, 4, command engine start. 2, 1, ignition. Liftoff. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
Here on the New Shepard. I think I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing a little bit. I gotta sing in space.
The best part was when we got back in our seats after 0 G's, Katy sang, "What a Wonderful World."
She did.
That nice.
Come on.
She sang, "What a..."
Can I ask you something? Who gives a flying fook? It's the dumbest thing I've ever... And Katy Perry sang in space. Stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Wonderful world. I see
Shut
trees.
up.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh.
An old hag.
Global promotion of her new album and a viral campaign about women conquering space. Influencers, fake scientists, and even a former NASA engineer were involved, until one of them decided to expose everything. Prosecutors revealed that over $20 million from sponsorships and public funds was spent on the deception. Perry claimed it was all an art performance, but leaked recordings showed meetings where they planned how to fool the public. The public is divided. Some still defend her as a genius, others demand prison time. If convicted, Katy Perry could face up to 7 years behind bars.
In a turn of events more dramatic than a Hollywood sci-fi blockbuster, Jeff Bezos, billionaire founder of Amazon and space tourism frontman, has filed a jaw-dropping $50 million lawsuit against pop superstar Katy Perry. The reason? According to Bezos, Perry allegedly blew the lid off what was meant to be a tightly choreographed, PR-perfect space tourism stunt by opening the capsule from the inside, exposing the entire operation, and turning what was supposed to be a historic moment into an embarrassing media circus. The legal documents filed are nothing short of explosive. Bezos, through his legal team, claims that Perry violated direct instructions and internal protocol, effectively sabotaging the space capsule's grand reveal.
The whole thing was just an advertising gig. After all, it was supposed to be made to look real. And all it was supposed to be was like an advertising for citizens in space, you know, like a ride. You can pay $10,000, go up to space, whatever the cost. You know, they're trying to make space travel fun. And let me tell you something, kitten caboodles. We shouldn't be fucking around with let's go to space just for fun. It's not for fun. It's bullshit what they're doing. First of all, the waste of fuel. just because people want to go to space. They want to see what it's like to be way up there. You know what? Jump off a 20-story building, and once you hit free fall speed, and there you go. Well, it's too late, then you hit the ground. You know what I mean? This is amazing. What a stupid, and even after all this, I still don't know what the hell's going on. It's so stupid. All right, let's continue.
In what Bezos describes as a devastating mistake, Perry opened the capsule hatch from the inside before Bezos could make his choreographed external appearance, exposing what he claims was a simulation environment meant solely for visual and promotional effect.
See?
To put it plainly, the Amazon founder is accusing Katy Perry of exposing the alleged truth behind a heavily publicized spaceflight, that it never left Earth. What was supposed to be Blue Origin's glittering moment, featuring Katy Perry as the surprise celebrity guest aboard the next-gen capsule, has instead spiraled into an all-out media frenzy. The stunt, meant to reinforce Bezos' space empire as not only revolutionary but also pop culture relevant, backfired in the most catastrophic fashion. Perry's simple action, pushing the wrong button, or the right one depending on who you ask, has now triggered a war between two of the biggest names in their respective fields. According to insiders, the capsule was staged to appear as though it had re-entered Earth's atmosphere after orbiting the planet. Bezos was supposed to dramatically open the door from the outside, helping Perry out as cameras rolled and drones captured every second for a heavily produced live stream. Instead, the pop icon reportedly unlatched the inner handle and stepped out by herself, leaving technicians, PR handlers, and Bezos himself in complete disarray. The result? Media outlets and internet sleuths immediately began speculating. Sharp-eyed viewers noted that there was no re-entry scorch marks, no landing gear marks on the desert floor, and worse, there were background noises in the live stream that suggested they were in a soundstage. The timeline of the space flight was quickly dissected and doubted. In less than 24 hours, hashtags like #BezosGate and #SpaceHooks trended worldwide. Jeff Bezos, the man whose wealth and ambition have practically redefined 21st century capitalism, now finds himself on the defensive.
I'm confused. I don't know if this was real, fake. Yeah, I don't know, Intergalactic. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know. Is it? Because it looks like they were real, like really in space. It looks like they went for that ride, and then we're finding out that they didn't go, which is weird. Like, really? All this, it's just a joke? It's really a lot to go through, you know? I mean, we're only 5 minutes in the video. I don't know, bro. I don't know what to believe. I just don't know.
Publicly silent. Her team has not issued a statement, nor has she posted anything on her typically active social media accounts since the incident.
Katy Perry.
Sources close to her claim she was never told the opening mechanism was off limits, and that she was simply following what she believed was a part of the landing sequence. But the silence may be strategic. Perry is reportedly lawyering up, and her camp may be preparing to countersue, alleging she...
Look how hard that thing hit. However, do you see any scorch marks on this? No. Because they're saying it never went into space. Would there be scorch marks from re-entry? Are there always scorch marks? It depends on the paint job.
She was set up as a scapegoat for an already risky stunt that was bound to unravel.
No,
Insiders hint that Perry was uncomfortable with aspects of the mission but was reassured repeatedly that everything was under control. The irony is thick. A pop star unintentionally becomes the whistleblower on what may have been the most elaborate space PR fabrication in history. Whether it was an honest mistake or a perfectly timed act of rebellion is still unclear.
You know what's weird about this? There was no build-up to it. We never heard Katy Perry, Gayle King, and these other people were training to go into space. You do need some sort of training. Yeah, I'm sure they went through some sort of training. But they definitely were not astronauts. Like they think well, now we know they weren't, but this is terrible. This is really a stunt gone wrong. And let's just move on and say stupid people will do stupid shit. Why would you ever trust Katy Perry is beyond me. You couldn't have found a better, I guess, icon or artist? You picked Katy Perry? That, to me, is weird. Gayle King is weird. The whole thing is weird. Those women, who are they? Who gives a shit? Really? Katy Perry? Who cares? Gayle King? Fuck off. Nobody gives a shit about you. And that's why you're in the business of failure. Welcome back.
What's clear is that this lawsuit isn't just about money. It's about reputation, image, and the clash of two towering public figures who operate in completely different orbits. Bezos, known for his meticulous control and obsession with futuristic branding, is reportedly furious behind closed doors. According to one person close to the billionaire, this lawsuit isn't just about recouping financial losses. It's about sending a message to anyone who might disrupt the narrative. You don't just walk out of a billion-dollar simulation like it's a backstage tent, the source quipped. As legal analysts dive into the case, many
Look at Florida Girl. Please stop calling them astronauts. So insulting to the brave men and women that trained for spaceflight. They were space tourists. This new coverage, cheese, publicity, rocket going up and booster coming down. Yeah, cool. Other than that, thank you.
Simulation like it's a backstage tent, the source quipped. As legal analysts dive into the case, many are asking deeper questions. If this was all truly a simulation, was the public misled? Were investors duped? Was it even legal to present a non-space flight as an actual mission? If Perry's move cracked open the door, literally and metaphorically, what else will come tumbling out? Public trust in billionaire-led space initiatives has always walked a fine line between fascination and...
Was Katy Perry trying to say they're not going to space as in we can't go to space, like even the moon landing's fake? Is that because that's what some people are saying? That's why she did it. Because they didn't go into space and Jeff Bezos and everybody's faking that they're going into space? Is that what we're seeing?
Consistencies. Was this flower a part of some staged promotional gimmick, or was it an indicator that the entire mission was nothing more than a charade? According to industry insiders, such an item would have been impractical in a real space mission, where everything is carefully planned and space itself is an unforgiving environment. The flower, innocent as it seemed, was now the symbol of a failed attempt at creating the illusion of space travel. As if that wasn't enough to fuel the controversy, the viral footage of Perry's space trip was quickly dissected. Viewers on social media pointed out the peculiar lack of realistic space effects. There were no weightlessness moments as Perry floated inside the capsule. There was no sensory disorientation from re-entry. Instead, viewers saw Perry casually adjusting her hair and flashing a carefree smile as if she were posing for a photo shoot in an air-conditioned studio.
Yeah,
the capsule's interior, far too pristine and sterile, looked more like an elaborate movie set than a state-of-the-art spacecraft. It was clear the public had been deceived. Once these videos began to gain traction, Bezos and his team at Blue Origin scrambled to contain the damage.
All right. We get it. Unbelievable. Right? How could they? Is that it? Oh, wait, there was more. Hold on. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why I was going through the motions there. Go.
They issued a series of carefully worded statements, attempting to explain away the inconsistencies as minor errors in the staging process. But those attempts fell flat as more footage emerged, showing Perry herself seemingly unaware of what was happening around her. Fans were quick to point out that the trip appeared to be a rehearsed performance rather than a real space voyage. And the situation only got worse when it was revealed that the entire event had been pre-recorded, with Perry and Bezos appearing in front of a green screen. This revelation was the final nail in the coffin, exposing the entire space mission as a carefully manufactured spectacle. Bezos' attempt to redirect public attention by claiming the incident was a technical glitch was ridiculed online. Critics slammed his PR team for attempting to cover up what they described as a blatant manipulation of public trust. The truth was out, and no amount of spin or damage control could undo the growing...
All right, we get it. I thought there would have been more. They just keep piling on. Yeah. Code for bath salt. Yeah, RV door 150%. Say word. Oh. Maybe. KG the Ghost, how you doing? Aw. Drift speed. I'll have to double that. I hear ya. Yes, it do. On the next episode of Junkyard Wars, Bezos' penis rocket. It kind of it looks like his head. Oh, I'm not feeling that great. I took my insulin shot during that video, but I don't know why I'm feeling this nauseous today. I'm not 100% out of the woods yet. All right. I'm looking for the moon landings. Fake? Or real? Hold on. There's a video here. I gotta show you this. All right. Was the moon landings faked? See, that's the other thing that I think Katy was, if she was doing that at all, was trying to bring awareness that, hey, even we didn't go to space. You know why? Because we can't. Yes, they can. But here, there's a guy who did 2 hours and 20 minutes on the moon. He talks about the liftoff footage. I mean, he goes over everything. And why don't we see stars? I think I could answer that. But let's let him do it. I'm always curious. I know the answer to this, but I like to see what other people say.
Okay, let's do another one that I actually get asked about often, even during launch live streams. Why don't we see stars in pictures and videos? And again, you know, even during modern stuff like photos and videos of launches and during on the ISS and stuff like that. I mean, this is actually a great question since we tend to associate a black sky with nighttime here on Earth. As a former professional photographer, I love answering this one because it's right in my wheelhouse. The answer is actually simple. It's daytime. Why would you see stars? Just because the sky's black doesn't mean the scene is dark, despite what we're used to here on Earth. As we know, on Earth, the sky looks blue when our atmosphere is illuminated by the sun, and when the sun is not hitting our atmosphere, aka night, it appears black, and the ambient light becomes low enough to see faint starlight once our eyes adjust, even though the atmosphere continues to exist, of course. So it's not the lack of an atmosphere that makes stars visible either. Even during the day, if you get higher up in the sky, the atmosphere gets thinner and eventually becomes virtually non-existent, and therefore the sky will get darker and eventually black. However, seeing a black sky doesn't automatically mean you'll see stars. The sun is by far the most dominant light source in our solar system. It's more than 10 billion times brighter to us than Sirius, the next brightest star in the sky. So the reason we often don't see stars in images taken from space is because there is still daylight exposure in these images, and the scene is being fully illuminated by the sun. The camera is exposed for direct sunlight illumination. And don't forget, the moon has a day and night cycle too. It cycles between day and night roughly every 14 days instead of every 12 hours.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm not really buying that answer. Because if the ISS goes around the planet, just like he was showing us, and it goes from day to night, but what he said was the cameras are always on the same setting for daytime, right? Didn't he say that? They're set for daytime, right?
You'll see stars. The sun is by far the most dominant light source in our solar system. It's more than 10 billion times brighter to us than Sirius, the next brightest star in the sky. So the reason we often don't see stars in images taken from space is because there is still daylight exposure in these images, and the scene is being fully illuminated by the sun. The camera is exposed for direct sunlight illumination.
The camera is exposed for direct light illumination. Gee, I wonder why. Here's a second part of that. Gee, I wonder why they don't have a nighttime camera. Show us what stars look like, and they'll never do it. Why don't they put a camera on the ISS that can see the stars? Come on now. After all these years, you mean to tell me they're not going to give us a star show from space? And don't tell me they can't do it, because I got news for you, people. There's a dark side of the earth as well. They could go in the shadows, point it at the stars, and give us those illuminaries. Please do. Why haven't we seen any of those pictures from space? That's all I'm asking. From space. That's all. I don't care about seeing stars from Earth. I can do that. Show me stars from space. Show me a camera in space taking pictures of stars from space. 2 words there, and they're both the same. Space! The final frontier. What a joke. I have a feeling, my beeps, we're being lied to. Oh, good question. Do they have astronomer telescope? Do they? What a great idea. No, they got the Hubble. The Hubble's already out there, so why bother? Now they got James Webb, so all over it. If they brought their own man-made, the little ones you can buy 3-footers, buy one of those telescopes, the same one that Christopher Columbus used, bring it into space, and shoot your shit. I want to see shit. I want them to prove it. Prove space isn't just... I don't even know if I can... An illusion. All right. Nah. It is an illusion, isn't it? Feels like it. I don't like it. I don't like this explanation.
And it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you, not only from the space station, but from the cupola, which is the premier place to be if you want to take imagery of Earth and the surroundings.
Holy shitballs. I didn't know NASA started DEI hiring too. I didn't know. I'm sorry. The guy sounded a little bit, off. A little bit. A tad askew, right? Did that guy not look like he was on something? I know, he was on the ISS. Very good jokes. Look, this guy...
I hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Don Pettit, the legend himself. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Tim, and it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you. Not only
I gotta tell you, it's been a pleasure to actually talk to you because I'm a robot. I'm not even real. I may look real. How did you get this? And how are we talking from home? I don't get it. I mean, that's how the guy sounds.
From the space station, but from the cupola, which...
Thank you for calling from the space station. Actually, I'm in the asshole of the space station. This guy's awful. All right. Now, the lunar shadows were one of the big things that people... shadows going in different directions. I made a video in front of my condo 5 years ago or so. And right in front of me, I see two shadows going totally different directions. I took a picture of it. Nobody seemed to care. But other than that, yeah, I had a pole and I had the side of the building, and both of them created shadows going different ways. It was weird. Well, because they weren't exactly on the same plane. Just like the rocks on the moon. They could be on an angle, they could be on a tilt, they could be a little low, a little high, a little deep, a little soft, shallow. Capiche? Yeah, that's why you don't see perfect shadows. Look, see the rock right here? Why is it going this way and the shadow going straight? This one, it has it going straight. But look at it going this way. That's what I'm talking about. Go. Lunar shadow.
What seems like inconsistent shadows is a common thing for people to point to as suspect of a hoax. For this, let's take a look at this photograph that some people question, saying it was shot in a studio and is proof the Apollo landings were fake. It's from Apollo 17, magazine 136, frame 20,744, shot on one of the iconic Hasselblad 500EL 6x6 medium format cameras with a Zeiss 60mm
with the Ziegfeld lens attachment?
f5.6 lens by astronaut Harrison Jack Schmidt at mission elapsed time of 122 hours, 32 minutes, and 50 seconds in the Taurus Littrow Valley. The claim here is that the shadows appear to be coming together, proving there to be multiple sources of light, or perhaps a light that's far too close. Certainly not the sun, that's millions of kilometers away. This is one of the easiest things to demonstrate on your own. All we have to do is go out when the sun is fairly low in the sky, about 15 degrees above the horizon, to match the lighting conditions in the photo. Then we need a lens that would be 35mm on a full frame camera, or a 35mm equivalent lens, since the 60mm lens on a medium format camera is equal to about 38mm. So to get the same perspective and angle of view, we'll want to aim for, 35mm or 40mm equivalent. Then we just need our camera to be placed roughly mid-chest to match where the Hasselblads were mounted on the A7LB spacesuits. It's pretty obvious that all shadows appear to point inwards towards the center of the photo. The further left or right an object is, the more this is exaggerated. And honestly, this is perhaps one of the most elementary of all things. They appear this way because of perspective, the exact same way parallel train tracks or roads appear to converge. And to prove these shadows are indeed parallel, let's just fly up and look down to confirm that they're indeed straight and parallel.
Amazing. We can see it. They're all straight. That's how it should be in the moon landings. Wait.
Now, ironically, conspiracy theorists claim something exactly backwards.
Right.
They say shadows appear to converge because it's a close studio spotlight that is roughly 10 feet behind the subject. But the closer a light source is to the camera, the more the shadows appear to line up with the camera's field of view. So the shadows actually become less and less visible to the vantage point of the camera the closer the light source is. Again, this is kind of photography 101 stuff here. Now, it's often claimed that there are multiple sources of light, and that's why the shadows appear to...
I'm not even gonna let him say it. I'll say it. If there were multiple sources of light, there would be an equal amount of shadows. True? Check it out.
To be in different...
That's why there's only one shadow. Even if they're going this way, that way, that way, that way, there's only one. You don't see multiple shadows. You know that effect I'm talking about, don't you? Go.
Directions. But the reality is that multiple sources of light will produce multiple shadows on a single subject. And actually, the lighting on the surface of the moon would be virtually impossible to replicate in a studio, even with limitless funds and the most advanced solutions in the world, because notice that in all the images, the entire surface of the moon is equally lit. Since we don't see multiple shadows, you couldn't use multiple sources of light to try and evenly light the scenes.
Right.
Let alone mountains that are several kilometers away from the camera. And light follows the inverse square law. If you move an object twice as far away from a light source, it'll receive 1/4 the amount of light. So imagine trying to light a scene where everything is evenly lit and you don't see multiple shadows. Your light source would have to be several kilometers away, maybe hundreds or millions of kilometers away, and it would have to be unbelievably bright, or perhaps, you know, it could just be the sun. And while we're talking about shadows...
He didn't say it. I can't believe this guy. Or they're in a studio. Why didn't he say that? We're in a studio. Why didn't he say that? Why didn't he say that? I think we did go to the... I'm pretty sure... Excuse me. I'm positive we can't say it. It's every time I want to say we went. I feel like I'm gonna throw up when I say that. All right, let's continue with this.
Should we just touch on this image real quick? This is a photo that Neil Armstrong took of Buzz Aldrin coming down the ladder. If this wasn't shot in a studio, then how in the heck is he so well illuminated in the shadow of the LEM? This one is, again, pretty simple. I mean, obviously the surface of the moon reflects sunlight, which is why it's so bright in our sky and why it can even illuminate the ground here on Earth under a full moon at night. This means the entire ground acts like a giant bounce fill. Now in photography, we have these bounce boards or reflectors that do the exact same thing. They provide a fill light, and you can see them used here all the time with most professional photographers, especially in portrait work. And it's the exact same situation on the moon. In fact, we see the same thing here on Earth quite often, like in this image of a lifeguard shack on a beach in Pensacola, Florida, where it shows the beach reflecting as a bounce fill almost exactly like the lunar surface. If we take a peek at the metadata for this image, we can see it was taken with a Nikon D200, f13, ISO 250, and 1/640th of a second for the shutter speed. So it's pretty clearly daylight settings. Notice that the reflective surface of the beach does the exact same thing to the lifeguard shack as the reflective surface of the moon does to the lunar lander. Side note, how awesome are these lifeguard shacks? That
was an interesting way of explaining that, huh? All right. Okay. All right, how is he going to explain the crosshairs? This I gotta hear. Go. Crosshairs behind objects.
Of all the questions that come up from the Apollo program, the fact that there are images where the crosshairs appear to be behind objects and even behind astronauts is maybe some of the most confusing things, but it's actually, believe it or not, one of the simplest things. First off, the crosshairs in question are known as...
So far, everything has a simple explanation. You see where this is going, don't you? If everything has such a simple explanation, that means we can simply dismiss it. And make up anything we want. You do the research, we know you won't. So we're going to say shadows going in different directions. We're going to talk about how they couldn't have seen him coming out of the lander. And the crosshairs. It's terrible.
As fiduciary markers, and they're actually etched onto a glass plate called a Rizal plate. And this glass plate was inside of the Hasselblad cameras, and it's pressed up against the film. So it's in between the film and the lens, so these crosshairs appear on every single image taken with these Hasselblad cameras. The markers are in a 5x5 grid, and they're tiny, only 1 millimeter long and 0.02 millimeters wide. The crosshairs are helpful in spotting warping of images, especially in the analog duplication process of developing and printing. The crosshairs can also be used as a bit of a reference to kind of help determine some scale and distances in images when cross-referenced with objects of known size in the image. So this is fairly simple and straightforward. Areas of high contrast with a lot of light tend to blow out bits of the fiduciary markers in the exposure of the film. This is very obvious in many images taken on the moon. However, all we really have to do is compare the high quality scans to the older low quality scans, and we can pretty easily see some of the fine details in the crosshairs that just simply get lost.
Has this thought ever gone through this guy's head? That these could have been drawn in? Well, you know, with the new improved technology, we were able to clean it up, and look at this. Duh. Were you there when they cleaned it up? No. So how do you know it wasn't drawn in with a digital pencil? This guy believes just about anything. I'm pretty sure we're seeing a non-clear thinker. I don't know. I don't know. Why did the flag wave? Everybody knows why they're going to say the flag waved. Do you know why? I'll play it just to show you. It's because they're going to say the pole was flexible, and when they pulled on it, it, recoiled. And, yeah, and also Buzz farted, so, there's absolutely... What was that? In space, everybody can hear you fart. Yep, that's true. The flag waved because it had a flippity-floppity pole.
Of internal friction in the fibers of the flag against each other while in motion. And just like waves in a body of water, the flag can have different resonant waves and different frequencies that can stack up and make for large motions.
There's a video, and I'm not going to get it, where you know how everything looks like it's in slow motion? If you sped up the film to double the speed, it looks like they're just naturally walking. Because when this guy's kicking up the dust, I just remembered that. Wait a minute, that dust That's settling real easily on the ground. Watch.
Of internal friction in the fibers of the flag against each
And
other.
that dust should be
while
going
in
for
motion.
miles.
And just like
Look at
waves
it.
in a
It
body
just
of
hits the
water,
ground.
the flag can have
There's absolutely little to no. Well, wait. It looks real. I mean, it looks like he's on sand.
different resonant waves and different frequencies that can stack up and make
at
for
that.
large.
It's hitting the ground awfully fast, and that's moon dust. What was that? Moon dust. No, the second word. Dust? You be the judge. You want to speed it up? Take a look? See what it looks like in regular motion? Let's try that. You're going to see them walking in normal speed. What do I do? 1, 2, right? Here we go.
Friction against the pole and the fabric, and an even smaller amount of internal friction in the fibers of the flag against each other while in motion. And just like waves in a body of water, the flag can have different
Look
resonant
how
waves and
normal it
different frequencies that can
looks.
stack up and make for large motions.
Right?
Now this is mostly due to the 3 feet attachment on one side and the 5 foot attachment on the top. The wave
Yeah, they sped it up. I think they sped that up a little too fast. Let's cut that down to 1/4 impulse power, Captain. I think we've got a message. Deep in space. Smart. Captain. Smart. Captain. Go.
waves ripple through the flag, and when they line up, they can make for some
Oh,
strange
that
jumps
looks
in motion.
regular.
This is
Look
quite
at
apparent
that.
in a few videos of flag deployment. If you watch any deployment footage for long enough, you'll see the flag always comes
Look
to
at
rest.
that.
Even if it's been shaken about for a good amount, it'll settle within a short period of time. This is something that the myth
Not so sure that they're really there. I really don't like this at all. Oh, whoa, I accidentally hit the Zimbabwe. All right, one thing I have to talk about is the Van Allen belt radiation, right? There's, in my opinion, I know nothing. We're going to hear what this guy says because he's supposedly smarter than the rest of us, or he just knows. But nonetheless, there's this, if you leave Earth, and I don't know how far away is the Van Allen belt? It's in between the moon and the Earth, right? Yeah, I know that. But you got to fly through this very radioactive area where if you do, you get so radiated, you're going to cook. Like a hot dog in a microwave. Like a hard-boiled egg in a microwave. Like soup in a No, soup's good. The Van Allen belt is the one thing that the creators of this universe put there. It's to keep us in check. That Van Allen radiation belt will make sure we don't live a full life. We'll make sure we can't get to any destination we want to go to. Now, can we create technology that goes fast enough? Now, you're not in the Van Allen belt for maybe a minute. All right, I could take a minute of 10 lifetimes of radiation. I can take that. I can't take 1,000 lifetimes of radiation, but I can take 10 lifetimes of radiation. Whatever the amount's going to be, as fast you're going to go, how long you're exposed, pop-a-deep-a-doop, math. This is interesting to me. Because the creators of this planet see to it that we won't be able to go that fast. They'll see to it that we are stuck using this type of technology we're using today. Oil, gas, whatever. They keep us trapped here. Not only that, we're trapping ourselves here. There's thousands of satellites in orbit. Yeah, I know they're pretty far apart, but it's getting crowded. A lot of that stuff's going to have to fall out of the sky for us to leave this planet someday. I mean, what are they doing? It's not a junkyard. Unbelievable. Hey, Stephen Karn. Hey, thank you for the €1. That's right, I forgot to say it. If you want to help support GUFON and Truthology for Ufology, you should frickin' do it. We're the only ones that will tell you the truth about UFOs and aliens as we see it and as it is. Because until there's evidence, I'm right. They're wrong. Truthology for Ufology. Donate today. Super Chat, Super Sticker, PayPal, Cash App. All the links are in the show description. Hey, thank you, Stephen Karn. Okay, continuing supporter of GUFON. Grazie. Stephen Karn. All right, back to this. In 3, 2, oh no.
Everything we've talked about so far makes a pretty big assumption here, that humans even made it to the moon in the first place. But one of the big...
Whoops. Yeah, we could watch it in fast motion. Yeah, let's watch.
Biggest questions remains. How did astronauts survive going through the Van Allen radiation belts? To best understand how the astronauts and their film survived the Van Allen belts, we'd better learn what exactly they are and how they work. The Van Allen belts are areas of energetic charged particles trapped in kind of a toroidal donut-shaped belt that surrounds the Earth. The particles mostly originate from solar wind and are trapped by Earth's magnetosphere. The Van Allen radiation belts were confirmed by the Explorer 1 and Explorer 3 satellites, and they were mapped out by Explorer 4, Pioneer 3, and Luna 1. They were confirmed by James Van Allen from right here in Iowa at the University of Iowa. Statements like humans can't survive the Van Allen radiation belts and NASA didn't even use any lead shielding also makes a lot of assumptions and misses some very important facts and context. It'd kind of be like saying humans can't survive in Antarctica because it's too cold. Well, I mean, sure, but, you know, not really. It all depends on what clothes they're wearing. How long are they there in Antarctica? What resources do they have? How long are they exposed to extreme weather? You know, et cetera, et cetera. The details and context and variables, they matter a lot. There's a few simple facts that some people seem to miss when making claims that humans can't survive the Van Allen belts. The first fact is lead would actually be a terrible choice for radiation shielding because of the exact type of radiation in the Van Allen belts. NASA engineered lightweight shielding that helped protect the astronauts from the
Mystic with the $3 super chat. Thank you, super chatters. We appreciate it. All over lies. That's pretty good. Shoot that good, Mystic. Thank you for being a continuing supporter of GUFON. Grazie.
The specific radiation environment. Number 2, you can fly around the belts and avoid the most dangerous portions of radiation.
What?
The flight path can reduce the amount of time spent passing through the worst portions of the belts. And number 3, radiation is cumulative. So while the intensity of radiation matters, time spent in radiation is the other part of the equation. If you're simply passing through radiation for a few minutes, it's different than lingering there for hours or days. Let's dive into these a little bit more, starting off with shielding. Why wasn't there lead shielding on the Apollo spacecraft to protect against the radiation? Well, for this, we need to know what type of radiation we're dealing with in the Van Allen belts. The Van Allen belts are mostly made up of highly charged particles from the sun. And the sun is mostly emitting alpha particles, beta particles, and protons. Alpha particles are actually quite big, and therefore they won't penetrate most objects, including our skin. In fact, cardboard would be a valid choice of shielding against alpha particles. Literally. Protons can penetrate thicker, and therefore you'd want some metal or even plastic to shield against it.
Really?
The outer aluminum shell of the Apollo spacecraft was thick enough to shield against protons. But beta particles are tiny, and they can easily penetrate many things.
That's because beta particles are bitches.
However, they're so small they typically don't cause
And they do have a size difference.
as much damage when they do hit things.
Aw.
But here's where this whole thing gets
That's just like a beta male. They look like a male, but they punch like Jello.
interesting. The worst thing you'd want to use to protect yourself against beta particles is heavy metal. Because when a beta particle hits a heavy atom, such as lead, it can...
If it hits Metallica, you'll get your Judas Priest, and the Scorpions will come out, and Megadeth will ensue. You like what I did there? Isn't that nice? Using heavy metal bands to speak the language of rocketry. Ah, brother. You know, we did go, we didn't go. We can fly around the Van Allen. We can fly through it. It depends how long. Depends. And did NASA fake the footage? Here's what we all want to know.
11 mission. I was honestly puzzled. But I have had some people ask me to look into this particular video, so we better just look into it. Let's start off with the claim. In a video called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, Sobral claims to have been accidentally given allegedly unreleased footage from NASA themselves. I mean, I guess that's interesting to say the least. In the footage, he believes it shows the Apollo 11 crew in low Earth orbit, but preparing and executing a shot where they're going to make it look like they're far away from Earth instead of just right there.
And NASA never denied giving him the video.
He claims the astronauts obscured the Earth using a window of the Apollo spacecraft. He also believes there to be a studio light in the shot, which is confusing considering he believes the shot was done in low Earth orbit. Let's start off with his first claim that this footage was never released and was never meant to be released. Well, not only was it released, it aired almost immediately after being transmitted back down to Earth on television. The exact clips in question are Apollo 11 TV transmission 033-5945 GET and Apollo 11 unscheduled TV 031-1030 GET. The reason some were considered unscheduled TV transmission is because they weren't scheduled for live broadcast at that exact time. However, the footage was being transmitted and recorded to all news stations so they could use it in segments later on in the news. To claim it didn't go public and was never released publicly is simply a bold-faced lie. In fact, the easiest way to find this exact clip is to go to a little website called nasa.gov/history and read the Apollo 11 Flight Journal, where they have every audio and TV transmission throughout the entire mission in order. But long story short, these were
Yeah, now they got it. Now it's there. But when Bart Sobral was doing his thing, maybe it wasn't there. But here we are, 20 years later. Right? And they could have just added it in. Duh. No, Rich, you're missing the point. It was part of the mission. No, that was supposedly not shown. Rich, but you're missing the point. It was shown. It was just scheduled to show at certain different parts of the world at different times. Some places did see it, some places didn't. That's why in the TV guide, they have it down. Got it. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Very clearly publicly available. They aired publicly. There was nothing secret nor unreleased about them. So as strange as saying that they were unreleased secret tapes is, the next claim is maybe even more perplexing and throws any semblance of logic Sobral had out the window. Literally. The claim is that the astronauts never left low Earth orbit, and the shots you see of Earth is just a small portion of the Earth being obscured by one of the Apollo command module windows to appear as though it's small and far away. First off, there weren't really any circular windows on the Apollo spacecraft. Now,
wait, what's this? Am I going blind, or is that a circular window? Am I blind, or is that a circular window?
The hatch window was circular, but it had a squared off housing with straight edges that would have been visible from any angle if you tried to use the edges
maybe
to make a circle for some reason.
Let's take a look and see if that's true. Nope, it would have been a circle. Wow. That's weird what
First
he just
off,
said.
there weren't really any circular windows on the Apollo spacecraft.
He says there weren't, and then there's one, so he's lying.
Now, the hatch window was circular, but it had a squared off housing with straight edges. That would have been literally. The claim is that the astronauts
Did
never
it have
left
a squared off housing?
edges. That would have been.
No, it was round. If this is your example. Oh my God. Somebody just shoot me in the left nut. All right, you saw it.
Module windows to appear as though it's small and far away. First off, there weren't really any
Look, if this is his example, I don't know what he's talking about. There's no square housing thing or whatever the fudge. It's on the outside, but not here.
Circular windows on the Apollo spacecraft. Now, the hatch window was circular, but it had a squared off housing with straight edges. That would have been visible from any angle if you tried to use the edges to make a circle for some reason.
No.
The claim also says they moved to the back of the spacecraft to make the window look smaller and therefore the planet smaller. Now, this is true. They did move to the back of the spacecraft, and you hear them talk about that and you see it in the footage. But if you were to move up, down, left, or right at all, the parallax would actually give away this effect. And that's just a horrible way to try and make the Earth look small. If we want
Yeah, that's why they didn't show it. Ugh.
to make the window look smaller and therefore the planet smaller. Now, this is true. They did move to the back of the spacecraft, and you hear them talk about that and you see it in the footage. But if you were to move up, down, left, or right at all, the parallax would actually give away this effect.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, a little bit. If the Earth is right out the window and they're not halfway to the moon, yeah, you move left or right just a few inches or an inch, the Earth out that window is going to move too, but since it's right there, it's not going to move, completely out of the way or in the way. And look at this. I don't see a square thing with the housing like he said. Look.
And that's just
I don't know. I see a head.
A horrible way to try and make the Earth look small. If we want to know what it looks like when you try to use the window to obscure the shot, we can actually see this exact thing happening in this shot from unscheduled TV 031-1030 GET. But the reality is, this isn't even what Earth looks like from low Earth orbit anyway. This is what Earth looks like out the window of a spacecraft that's in low Earth orbit. If this were shot from LEO, the Earth would look very, very different. Not to mention, you wouldn't be able to see the Terminator line or the shadow of day and night like this from LEO at all. Now, here's an interesting thing that Sabrell got completely wrong. He claims that they zoom out and then that a studio light just turns on and you can see the inside of the spacecraft. And what he's missing is that that's not a studio light turning on. That's just simply the astronauts exposing the inside of the spacecraft, because that's what they said they're going to do for this broadcast, was show the outside, then show the inside and see the astronauts. And what you're actually seeing is one of the windows now being, illuminating the inside of the spacecraft. And that sun angle actually matches the sun angle of the Earth. It's actually really simple, and it lines up exactly with models and images of the inside of the spacecraft. I don't even really get how this is in any way a controversy. It's just not.
I don't know why I'm not registering. It's not registering with me. I don't get it. I don't get what he's saying, and I'm not going to spend time over it. All right, the dust. I talked about the dust earlier. Lunar rover dust.
Okay, as we've seen, a lot of things look unusual on the moon, and many of these oddities stir up questions and conspiracies. But there's one unusual thing that actually proves that humans didn't just go to the moon, but that humans actually drove around on the moon. Watch the lunar dust get kicked up by the lunar roving vehicle during the famous Lunar Grand Prix on the Apollo 16 mission. This is some of the best proof that NASA could not have faked the Apollo missions by shooting this footage on Earth. If you go frame by frame and track the front wheel's rotation, like Professor Harani from the University of Colorado Boulder did, you can extrapolate the velocity of the rover on the moon, and then you can use the scale of the vehicle to correlate the height of the particles being thrown around by the rear wheels. You'll notice that the lunar particles are not affected by an atmosphere at all. Now, had this footage been faked on Earth, the particles would have slowed down along their trajectory from air resistance. Okay, well, maybe NASA could have filmed this in a giant vacuum chamber studio or something. Well, the other important thing to remember is that the particles also follow a trajectory that matches the moon's gravity at roughly 1/6 the Earth's gravity. So unless NASA has the technology to turn off or reduce gravity, this video was not filmed anywhere on Earth. The physics point to this.
Hold on. Let's speed it up and see what it looks like at 1.75. See if it looks like something you'd see, I don't know, on the dunes. I'm going to pull up a dune buggy in a minute.
This footage being filmed on the moon. But for pretty much everything we've talked about, we still, to some degree, have to trust NASA's footage and words. What other evidence from outside? So unless NASA has the technology to turn off or reduce gravity, this video was not filmed anywhere on Earth. The physics point to this footage being filmed on the moon. But for pretty much everything we've talked about, we still, to some degree, have to trust NASA's footage and words. What other evidence from outside of NASA is there?
I'm not really, I'm still not buying this guy's explanations or the math. I know you can't argue with math, but that's if we're not being lied to either. I don't know, but I want to pull up what a sand buggy going through the desert looks like. Sand buggy. Okay, here we go. I found one. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look! Alright, hold on. We'll find it. I mean, it's not that much. That guy's going really fast. Hey, if you look at the sand, it looks pretty similar, doesn't it? Even at this 80-mile-an-hour speed. I've gone 80 miles an hour on a sand buggy before. It's incredible. It's a different world out there. I love it. I didn't drive, but if you look at this dust, I'm telling you, even at these fast speeds, you can see. With some slower speeds.
Like Bugatti Veyron? Yeah. Nothing. It's crazy.
See here, look. And it looks similar. That's a cool little buggy, man. That guy gets torque on that. I guess we're not going to see anything go slow, but you can see how the sand looks. Very, very similar. Here we go, about 30 miles an hour. Right? Not that much. Look, it doesn't get that high. Look at Earth, right? So if you were to guess, I would say the plume of sand or moon dust that comes out is no higher than the roof of the vehicle usually, right? Watch. Hey, look. I mean, it doesn't, maybe a little higher, but it doesn't get that much higher. You get remnants of dust or sand, you know. But for the most part, it doesn't go much higher than the actual dune buggy. So let's see here.
The best proof that NASA could not have faked the Apollo missions by shooting this footage on Earth. If you go frame by frame and track the front wheel's rotation, like Professor Harani from the University.
Hold on. Let's turn that back down.
Okay, as we've seen, a lot of things look unusual on the moon, and many of these oddities stir up questions and conspiracies. But there's one unusual thing that actually proves that humans didn't just go to the moon, but that humans actually drove around on the moon. Watch the lunar dust get kicked up by the lunar roving vehicle during the famous Lunar Grand Prix on the Apollo 16 mission. This is some of the best proof that NASA
it might be on the moon. It's hard to tell.
Could not have faked the Apollo missions by shooting this footage on Earth.
It's hard to tell, guys. Anyway, that's it for me tonight. I'm feeling a little bit, I don't know, not well. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out. You be the judge on whether we went to the moon or not. Yeah, there were some other things we could have talked about, but for the most part, you know, those were the main things I wanted to talk about and go over. And also, if Katy Perry and the girls, I was going to say, and those old ladies didn't go up in space, where did they go? Or did they go at all? So thank you, Katy Perry and the broads over there at the Bezos Fest for opening our eyes to the reality of space travel. That it's really, really dangerous. But yet, we haven't gone back since 1972. 82, 92, 02, 12, 22, 23, 24, 20. 53 years. 53. I was 4. I was 1 when they went on the moon. It's a long time. It's a lot of decades. Do you know 53 times 2 is 106? That's how long we've been in the industrial age. Say word. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I made that up. But I want to thank the moderators, the 2 super chatters. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you, newcomers and veterans. Thanks for subbing. Don't forget to sub if you haven't. And we'll fight the shadow ban till the end. We ain't going nowhere. We may improve on things, but we ain't going nowhere. Truthology for ufology has planted itself firmly in the ground of lunacy. What? Insanity. There you go. Because if I keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, I must be crazy. Guess what? I am. Oh. Truthology for ufology. Yeah, he does it for you. You. He does. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful night, and we'll see you Friday. We'll see you tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, what am I talking about? We do Tuesday, Friday for RSA. Hey, there's an RSA video going up tomorrow. It's the best one I've ever done. Got to check it out. I'll let you know. See you later. Alien bless. Is that it? That's it.
There's a lunar thing. It's rotating. Well, we got it! Woohoo!
What was in the skies of and why did it downward treasured sites in Christianity?